Hey everyone, Mount Rudmore here, and it has been a long time since I have done one of these videos, but I am here right now to talk about the cast of Big Brother 24. Yeah, time has almost come. We are less than 24 hours away. It is currently 9:27 p.m. here on the East Coast, and yeah, 24 hours from now, we should know who the first HOH of the season is. Yeah, that really speaks a lot to how long they waited this year to reveal everything. And let's just say it's starting to become a little bit apparent why. Or maybe not apparent, but it's suspicious for sure. But yes, I have been taking notes as much as I can today. I looked at the pictures, I read the interviews. I was not able to watch any videos, but I did read the, what was it? Us Weekly, I think? Oh, yeah, okay. Parade.com is where I was reading the, yeah, Parade.com is where I read the interviews. And, yeah, I guess I'll just keep that open on my phone just so I can refer to it if need be, but I have my notes in my phone. And before we get to the cast, and believe me, I want to talk about this cast. But first, see what I did there? Julie's classic saying. Before we get to the contestants, I do want to talk about some of the things Julie said in her interview, talking about the season. And there were a couple interesting things about it. So, start off, the first eviction night is apparently going to have a twist. And to quote the interview, it said, "It may not be one of the people that you think that ends up getting bounced that night. The house guests won't know until that night, apparently. Like, they won't know until it's happening. And, there's ways this can be really interesting, and there's ways this can go horribly wrong. Like, I don't want it to be someone completely undeserving just getting completely shafted, okay? I don't want it to be someone I like, and then it's like, oh, wow, that person just got railroaded. That's not fair. And hello to my first viewer. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated. But yeah, first eviction night is going to have a twist. May not be one of the people you think, so maybe not even a nominee, which they kind of did, sort of, with Celebrity Big Brother, but I don't really want to talk about Celebrity Big Brother that much. Maddie 1974. Hi. Hello. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated. And I have two viewers now. Hello to my other one. So, yes. First eviction night twist could be interesting. It could be a disaster. But, I mean, I guess anything's better than a first night eviction. At least this is, like, it will be the first eviction, period. BB tomorrow. Oh, yeah. That's why I'm here. I've been thinking about it all day. And I am pumped. Now, this is another quote from Julie's interview. It says, but she said, there are so many twists and turns this season and challenges that are so much harder that you're going to have a hard time just figuring out how to survive in the house. And that definitely has potential to be interesting because I definitely think that could weed out some floaters, for sure, if they've upped the difficulty of the challenges. I will say this. I watched BB17 for the first time last summer, and when I was watching that season, I was like, I think I would have gotten beat in all of those challenges. The only one I think I might have done okay with is slip and slide, because I've always said, like, if I get on Big Brother, like, the staple challenge that I would do best at would definitely be slip and slide, because that's typically won by either the really tall contestants, I'm 6 feet tall, or the contestants who come from colder climates, or at least places that are cold in the winter. And I'm from Massachusetts. You think I don't know a thing or two about walking on slippery surfaces? But yeah, that was the only BB17 comp I think I could have done well with. So if they're saying they've upped the difficulty this season, that's That's certainly interesting. And this one I found very interesting, and I feel like a lot of people have already forgotten about this with a lot of the stuff that's come out about certain people. But Julie was asked about teams, and she said, kinda. Now, what does that mean? You know? Like, a lot of people were suspecting, is this a duos thing? But I guarantee by now, with how quickly everyone else dug up everything about everyone and their families, I think if any of these people had any sort of connection to each other, it would have been found out by now. Like Tommy and Christy, BB24, they found out they knew each other in what, like a half hour after the cast was revealed. It came out, if that. It took no time at all. BB Twitter, best investigative force in the world. I'm telling you. So, as far as I can tell, I don't think any of these people seem to know each other. I don't know if you can hear the air conditioner that just came on, but it's hot, so it's it's staying on, so get used to it. But yeah, since none of them seem to know each other, what does Julie mean by kinda? Like, will they be forced into duos or something? Like, I mean, not teams, but oh my god, I am losing battery life fast on this thing. Wow, I think I might need to relocate myself. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. Uh, Screw it, I'm gonna do it now. I'm away from my charger. All right, bear with me. We are moving closer to the air conditioner now, unfortunately. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. So yeah, duos. I'm wondering what this could mean. Like, could this be like they're gonna be forced into like some kind of team challenges or like a pairs challenge? Like maybe it'll be the kind of competition where I don't know, two people win HOH. Like, could they do that? And if they do, will it be like a battle of the block type of situation? Because I mean, battle of the block is one of the less popular twists. They only did it in BB16 and BB17, and wasn't well received either time. I mean, when I watched BB17, it didn't bother me. I thought it was kind of overly complicated, but I wasn't like, oh, this is ruining the game. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what that means, but well, I guess we'll find out, won't we? I mean, hey, I'm all for new twists. Just keep running stuff up the flagpole and see who salutes it for all I care. I just realized I'm drinking watermelon juice. Watermelon is not the best thing to consume when talking about Big Brother because it brings up bad memories. And yeah, not the best drink of choice. My bad. I don't want you to think that I'm a Jackson Mickey stan because I am not. I hated that guy, and I still do. Okay, so let's get into the contestants now. There are probably a lot of things I could say about certain people, but I'm going to try and get through them as quick as I can. So, I'm going to go alphabetical. First up, we have Alyssa, who is from the same hometown as last year's Alyssa. That was certainly an unusual thing to hear. So, according to her interview, she says that she doesn't want to work with loud or obnoxious players because they rock the boat too much. And she says she would vote with the House because going against it, anyone who goes against the House always tends to get caught. Uh, that sounds pretty boring to me. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm not impressed at all by Alyssa's interview. I don't think she seems like a particularly interesting person, but I feel like she might be able to squeeze into an alliance, and I think they might carry her for a while. But yeah, I don't really see much from her. And like she says, she doesn't want to work with people who rock the boat. Like people who rock the boat are the most interesting. You know? Like no, we want people who rock the boat. Like we're kind of starving for it. I mean, last season I was not bored by last season, but I didn't love it for how dramatic it was. I loved it because, it was a group with a mission and a darn good strategy. And I found that fascinating to watch. I was entertained by their level of gameplay, but, yeah, last season was kind of lacking on drama. And Alyssa just seems to be totally averse. This Alyssa seems to be totally averse to drama. Although, come to think of it, Alyssa from last year didn't seem all that dramatic either. I never really saw her get into any big arguments with anybody. But yeah, this Alyssa, not feeling it. Just not feeling it. Next up, we have Amira. Now, she says that she doesn't want to work with two-timers. She talks about being authentic and straightforward a lot in her interview. Like, she mentions that repeatedly. And she says that she would vote, like, for her own game if it was going against the House. The House, sorry. Can't talk all of a sudden. But she would do it only if she felt it made a difference, I think. I think that's what she said. Yeah. She said, I mean, this was a fairly good point. Even if it's helping my game, is it really helping my game long term? That is a fair point. But I'm kind of hung up on the two timers thing. She's like, listen, it's Big Brother. Everyone's two timing each other. The whole game is strategy and manipulation. So, you know, you kind of have to be mindful of that. Like, everyone's out for themselves. Everyone wants $750,000. Like, I'm sure she wants $750,000, but she's got to work for it, and she's got to know that other people are going to be going for it pretty hard. And I don't know. I'm a little concerned that her being so anti two timers in the Big Brother house, like, depending on how she responds when she realizes someone is two timing, I don't know. I feel like this might have the potential to set her up for a not great social game. But I don't know. I'm not really sure how I feel about her, to be honest. It's just a lot of people are looking forward to her, and I'm just kind of, I don't know. She's a 5 out of 10 on my interest scale at best. That's not the lowest. I promise you that. I mean, it's higher than Alyssa. Alyssa's maybe a 3, if that. But yeah, Amira just kind of, I don't know. So far, she's not really capturing my interest, but that could change. That's another thing. What I'm doing right here, this is me reading interviews and looking at pictures and just sensing vibes. Okay, this is all speculation. This means nothing right now. I mean, please watch. Please do. Because, it could be fun. Like, if I'm really wrong and then I rewatch this in a couple months, I'll just laugh at myself. And that might be fun. But, for now, let's just go with this. Now, let's see what happens. Oh, and another thing I wrote down. She kept saying, "I'm authentic. I'm straightforward." What it was kind of reminding me of. Now, I don't mean to imply that I think she's going to be as problematic as this person was, but it is reminding me a little of Nick from BB21, who mentioned what a nice guy he was in all of his interviews beforehand. Like, he like he was trying to say all the right things, and he was like, I don't remember why he brought it up, but he mentioned something about Flint, Michigan, still not having water in his pregame interview. And I'm like, oh, okay, this guy might be a nice guy, but then in the game, he was just kind of a jerk. In fact, he was a lot of a jerk. Only in that season, though, would he only be like the fourth or fifth worst of the cast. But yeah, just seeing her repeat herself like that, it reminded me of Nick and like how hard he tried to tell us what he was. He just show don't tell, you know? Nick only told, he didn't show. Amira's telling us, maybe she'll show it. I'll give her a chance, obviously. Again, I'm giving everybody a chance. But you got to prove it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Amira. I said more about her than I thought, considering she's the one I've probably thought about the least. Up next, Brittany. Now, she mentioned that she wrote a 40-page notebook of potential Big Brother strategies. But she says it's best to be adaptable. She plans to say that she's a toy tester to try and be underestimated. She's actually a hypnotherapist, which, is not a job you just get. You have to go to school for a long time to get that kind of job. She says that she wants to target the strong and smart ones, like people who are strong and smart together, like both at the same time. That's what she wants to target. And I'm like, okay, you're catching my interest with that. She says that she loves to talk, and I remember looking at her interview and thinking, wow, this is the longest page yet, because it was longer than Alyssa and Amira's. But, actually, like, theirs were just kind of shorter than everybody else. Brittany actually turned out to be fairly average length. But at first I was like, she might be really chatty, like last year's Brittany. I loved Brittany last year. I don't want that to sound like I'm throwing shade to her or anything. Loved Brittany last year. And she mentioned that she is a super fan. So the thing with Brittany is she seems a little unpredictable. Like her strategy seems unpredictable, and unpredictability is good, you know? I don't want to know what's going to happen at all times. That's why I hated BB22. Like, I knew on day 2 who the final 7 people were going to be. Who cared that season? Nobody. So, yes, while I appreciate that she might have an unpredictable strategy, I don't know if she strikes me as much of a comp beast. I don't know. Just, like, she doesn't look like a very physical person. She looks like kind of a geeky, bookwormy type of lady. But I mean, I don't know. She seems nice. And you know what? I will say she might have a chance in mental comps, depending on what they do. So, you know, I don't see her being much of a physical threat. And I don't know if that would make her just an easy target early on. But we'll see. Next up, Daniel. Now, first of all, I believe he's from Vegas. I remember reading there was someone who was an Elvis impersonator, and I'm pretty sure it's him. I mean, I can't see it being anybody else. And by his own admission, he admits that that was a really stupid thing of me to say. By his own admission, he might be perceived as loud and obnoxious. And, you know, that's not great. But what I did like is that he said that he doesn't like extremely macho men. Now that caught my eye. Like he might go for like the alpha dudes. And he says that he'll vote whatever's best for him strategically, whether it's with the House or not. Which I also really appreciated. So there doesn't seem to be a lot of hype around this guy. I'm cautiously optimistic. You know? I don't know. I think this guy might turn out to be okay. You know, as far as I know, I haven't seen any really problematic stuff dug up about him. Like, I've barely seen anyone talk about him, to be honest. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic, but, you know, as far as targeting macho men, that sounds good. But remember, Frenchie said that he doesn't like meatheads. Like, I want to get all the meatheads out, you know? Just get them all out of here. And while Frenchie certainly gave us excitement and chaos that first week, he did not give a good game. And he was the next one out the door. So, you know. Just, you know, if you're going to go up against the meatheads, if you want to target the macho guys, don't make deals with them. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? All right. Next up, we have Indy. Now, in her interview, she said she doesn't really care how she's perceived because she knows who she is. And, you know, good on you for that. She's straightforward, knows what she wants. Okay. And she would just go with the House on votes. Now, if I'm being totally honest, none of those answers really sounded good to me. Like those sounded like all wrong answers to me. I mean, you know, that's good on you not caring about how others perceive you, like in life. But in the Big Brother house, where you need at least 5 jury members to vote for you to win, I don't know if that's too great. I mean, you know, I'm not saying she has to be a total suck up to everybody, but you know, as long as she doesn't come off too standoffish either. Like she doesn't care how she's perceived, but you know, perception is everything in the Big Brother house if you want to win. You know, you need to show people that you're strategic and you deserve it and all that. Also, I seem to see something that indicated she only watched last season. At least I think that was her. I'm pretty sure it was. And you know, it's like she seems like a recruit. And I'm just not overly interested. I mean, you know, Derek X was basically a recruit last season, but he turned out pretty well. So it's not impossible. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling her. I'm not feeling Indy. Sorry. Again, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm not impressed right now. But, you know, 24 hours time, 36 hours time, probably more likely, once they've had more time to integrate in the house. You know, who knows? These are just my opinions right now. These are my first impressions. Well, not first, like first through 10th, probably, because I've done as much digging as I can. But yeah, that's how I feel about Indy so far. I'm just kind of not feeling her. Uh, Boy, it sounds like I'm not really feeling anyone so far. Other than Daniel, I guess. That I hope that doesn't uh, sound too questionable to anybody. That the only one I'm interested in so far is the guy. I mean, look, I intend to do a draft with my dad and my brother. We're each going to pick 5. One person's going to be left out. Honestly, I don't see any of these people being my first picks. Anyway, let's just move on. Next up, after Indy is Jasmine. And the advice that she's taking into the Big Brother house is to trust no one. I like to hear that. She doesn't want to work with jocks. I like to hear that. She wants to run the house with an underdog. I like the sound of that. Would vote to help her alliance. Like, it doesn't seem like she'd really vote with or against the house. It's just like whatever her alliance wants. And that I agree with. That's a valid strategy. And, I think she has potential. Of everyone I've gone through so far, Jasmine, I think, is giving me the most positive feelings. But she's got to follow through. If she can follow through with some of the things she said already, I don't know. I think she could be one to watch. And you know what? I feel it in me. She is going to follow through with that. So, here's hoping she wins some power early on to prove me right or wrong. Okay, now things get interesting. Because next up, I want to talk about Kyle. Kyle. So this nerdy, geeky-looking guy, he says that he thinks he might be perceived as a dumb Ken doll-looking guy. Like Barbie's Ken. A Ken doll. This guy, this geek, wears glasses. He thinks he's going to be Ken? Really? You sure about that? Seriously, like John Cena right now. You sure about that? He says he's chill and doesn't like conflict. Okay, well, that doesn't sound very interesting for Big Brother. Doesn't like dominant personalities. That sounds a little better, but, it depends on what he perceives as a dominant personality. He admits he makes light of situations and thinks it could rub people the wrong way. I mean, I'm all for trying to keep things light, but, time and place. Don't crack jokes at a funeral. He says that he would be willing to flip on his alliance later on, but early in the game, not so much. I mean, just honestly, I couldn't really get past the nerd thinking he was a Ken doll. That really stuck with me. And I'm like, this guy seems a little delusional. And then people started digging through his social medias, finding out stuff about him, and things started to fall into place a little. That's all I'm going to say on that. Like, some of his social media posts seem to indicate that this guy is possibly a little, let's go with ignorant. This is the best I can say for him, though. I remember last year when Whitney's TikTok was discovered. She's like at a shooting range. Everyone was like, oh. And I admit, I was one of them. But since the season ended, like, I didn't care for Whitney at all when she was in the house, but like once she got out and I actually got to hear her like explain some things and see some things that she has like posted in the aftermath of BB23, I'm like, oh my god, I was super wrong about her. And I stand by that. And I don't like that she still gets picked on for no reason by members of her own cast. You know who I'm talking about. The one with the big mouth. What am I doing? I'll just say it. Derek F. Yeah, that loser. But anyway, enough about that. Back to Kyle. I don't know. He doesn't fill me with good vibes. I think this guy might be someone very unlikable, someone who might just, I don't know. I think this guy could be trouble. And I think maybe they wanted him on the show and they just revealed the cast so late so that there was nothing they could do to pull him. because they just wanted him on no matter what people dug up about him. Anyway, moving on from him. Next we have Marvin. And Marvin says that he thinks he could be perceived as a physical threat, and his shirtless pictures have already made the rounds. I'm pretty sure he's a bodybuilder of some sort. He's at least he works out a lot. That's for sure. He says he wants to work with smart players, and I like the sound of that. And he says he would want to flip the game however he sees fit to benefit him, regardless of whether it's good for his alliance. Now, there's a right and wrong way to do that, but if he does it right, then, he could be a contender. He definitely has cutthroat potential, but he needs to make sure that he doesn't get targeted too early, because he is very physically fit. Also, apparently, he is on, or was on, this current season of America's Got Talent. Yeah, how about that? This guy's just getting on any show that'll take him, apparently. I thought America's Got Talent was live. I don't watch that show, but isn't it? I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say about Marvin. Just, he seems like a recruit, honestly. Or at least he's just auditioning for every reality show he can find. I think the guy just wants to be on TV, if I'm being perfectly honest. All right, here we go. The most talked about one of this crew, or at least the one most talked about for bad reasons. Matt. I will say, in his interview that I was reading through before I heard everything about him, he said, "Network is your net worth." And I actually did like that quote. Because in Big Brother, that is definitely true. He wants to be perceived as like an artist type of guy and just kind of be a floater. So, the time might come for him to grab a life vest. He says he doesn't like jocks, but acknowledges that they run the game. So, he seemed to imply that, like, he might work with one if he could. At least that was the impression I was getting. And he says that at the end of the day, he's playing for himself in regards to whether he'd flip a vote or not. I mean, when I was reading through that, I'm like, okay, this doesn't sound half bad. And also, I'm from Massachusetts. He's from Massachusetts. Originally South Attleboro, currently New Bedford. And, I was thinking, oh, okay. This might be a local guy I can root for, because last year the local guy for me was Brent. He's from Rhode Island. And where I am in Massachusetts is not far from Rhode Island, so he was, he was the closest one to me. Like this year, there's actually someone from Massachusetts. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, initially, I had a good feeling about him, but that was because he was a local, so I was probably a little biased. But then, his sister made herself known on social media. Apparently, he's been abusive to her forever. I'm like, wow, that is a lot. And then people dug up her Twitter history, and apparently she said some very racist and homophobic things. That's like, oh, okay, so you might just be making this up. Like, she even said something where she kind of bragged about telling a rumor that nearly ruined her brother's life. I'm like, okay, so maybe you're just making this up to spite him. But then I heard something about how he used to work for a YouTuber, and he tried to, like, make up lies about him to get him to ruin his career. And my opinion now is, like, this family is not representing my home state very well. Let me tell you something. Between the Turner family and Brent last year. Can New England catch a break, please? Or maybe not all of New England. Christian was from New England last season as well. Christian was an okay guy. A little bit of a himbo, but he was, there was nothing problematic about him. But it's like, come on, there are so many good people. Like, most of the good things that happen in this country anymore happen in Massachusetts. Or just New England in general. But mostly Massachusetts, because we got the biggest population up here of these 6 states that make up New England. And it's like, there are great people here. How about getting someone that better represents this region of the country? Huh? Please? I will say it's partially on me because, I saw he's from New Bedford, and I'm like, I kind of I kicked it down the road a little just to be like, oh, well, he's a local. But then I knew in the back of my mind, New Bedford's not a great place. I've been there. It's terrible. There's so many great spots in Massachusetts. Like, Boston's great. The surrounding cities like Cambridge, Brookline, great cities. But New Bedford is, it's not our finest. And Matt, or Turner, I've seen him referred to as Matt or as Turner because, Turner was in quotes. Like, is he going to be Turner or is he going to be Matt? I was trying to do this alphabetically, but it's like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know whether he's Matt or Turner. Because he places very differently alphabetically, depending. So I really just kind of flipped a coin. Not kinda, I did flip a coin. Then it's like, okay, guess I'm going with Matt. So, alphabetically, I got to Matt first. So yeah, I don't have a good feeling about this guy. I think he's going to be trouble. I think he might say some not pleasant things. But sadly, I feel like he might be able to connect. Matt and Kyle, or Turner and Kyle, whatever you want to call him, I think they're going to form the unholiest of bromances. That's my biggest fear. Again, sorry that this is watermelon juice. I wasn't thinking when I poured it. All right. Next up. This is the one who's gotten the most positive feedback so far, I think, at least among the male contestants. Michael. And he says that he just wants to enjoy himself, to not rub anyone the wrong way, and that's good because if you look too sweaty, to use one of my gamer terms, because I also stream games on Twitch. Hashtags shameless self plug. But yeah, going back to Christian from last year, the guy did several backflips and push-ups in a row, and it's like, no wonder you got yourself targeted. You are a behemoth. And he won so many things early on. It's like, dude, you are painting the biggest target on your back. It's like, what was he thinking? So it doesn't seem like Michael's gonna be like that. He's just gonna try and enjoy himself. He thinks he'll be perceived as a nerd. And, I looked at him like, oh yeah, you look like a nerd. But hey, I'm a nerd too. I like nerds. Now this, I really liked. He said he doesn't want to work with anyone going with the house because they can't be counted on. I've actually never even looked at it that way, but that is an amazing point. Like, if everyone with you is just like, we had a good thing, but they're all voting that way, so we're just gonna do this. Like, no, I don't want to be with those kind of people either. So yeah, I'm with him on that. I liked hearing that. And he says that he is more than willing to flip a vote. I like what I hear from Michael. Honestly, he's giving me some Ian, Steve vibes. The nerd winners. and I like it. You know, like I kind of got that impression at first from Kyle, but then it's like, oh no, no, Kyle, no. Like he may look like a nerd, but I mean, he does look like a nerd, but personality-wise, he's not a nerd because he seems like an idiot. Sassy sip. First sassy sip of BB24. So he's got the potential to be a player like Ian Terry or Steve Moses. And also, he's an attorney, which could mean he could play a little bit of an Xavier game as well, or a Vanessa Russo game, depending on. Well, he says he doesn't want to. He says he wants to kind of lay back, take it easy. So I guess that would be more of an Xavier game than a Vanessa game. But yeah, I'm very, very excited for him. I think this guy is definitely one of the early favorites, and I'm on board with it. Um, Sorry, just heard someone coming up the stairs. This isn't my house, by the way. I don't sleep in a room this pink. Um, anyway, where was I? Okay, next up, we have Monty. His strategy, he says he just wants to be himself because he thinks he's got a good personality. And by his own admission, he's pretty muscular. He's pretty strong. Personal trainer, I believe, was his occupation. But he also has an engineering degree. Now that definitely, I like the sound of that. Strong. He's got brains and brawn. I like that. Definitely. And it says he wouldn't flip a vote because he wouldn't want it to screw up the trust he has with his alliance. Which, is probably that's a fair reason to not flip a vote. Like, if you think your own allies will turn on you for it, yeah, it wouldn't be the best move. So, I mean, with him, he seems like a nice guy, honestly, but is he too nice for Big Brother? That's always the question. I mean, nice guys, they've won Big Brother. I'm just talking about Steve, BB17. He was a really nice guy. So, we'll see with Monty. I'll tell you this. I don't feel like I'm gonna dislike him. I think he'll be a good dude. I think he'll be a good egg. All right, up next we have Nicole. Another Nicole. So yes, she thinks she'll be perceived as fierce, but she doesn't really seem to mind that too much because she wants it to carry her through the game, which makes sense for sure. She doesn't want to work with floaters. She wants to work with people that can actually carry their own weight and contribute. So there's some Rachel Riley vibes there for sure. I don't know if she'll be as open about it. I don't think she'll say floaters grab a life vest, but I think that could be interesting. She says also she would vote with her alliance, not necessarily with the House, just with her alliance, but just at first. Then later on, she'd play for herself. Honestly, I think she's going to be one to watch. I actually haven't really seen too much hype about her. Everyone was just like, oh yeah, she's there. No one's really focusing on her too much yet, but I like it. I sense good things from her. All right, up next, this is another one where I was like, I'm not sure whether I should go by first name or nickname alphabetically, but I decided to just go with nickname Pooch because he's got an Italian last name that starts with Pooch. It was like Pucciarelli or something. Now, I was talking about Brent earlier. I took one look at this guy, and got Brent vibes. So started on a bad vibe with him. Then I read the interviews, and he says that he's willing to play up the Italian stereotype to be taken less seriously, which, that's actually fairly smart. You don't want them thinking too highly of you, or they might come for you. Sorry. Um, this I liked. He says he doesn't want an alliance member that could blow up. And I mean, look, I I want people in the house that'll blow up, but I wouldn't want to work with them. You know, he would prefer to work with someone level headed, and that is the strategy. But you have someone who's volatile, and it's just gonna like cause trouble for themselves and everyone close to them. Yeah, you don't want to work with that person. As a viewer, you want to watch that person, but you don't want to work with them. So, so I think that was an interesting perspective. He thinks that his outgoing personality will help him in the early part of the game, but hurt him later on because it's like everyone likes him. He'd be an easy jury vote, so maybe we got to get rid of him. So, I think he could play it nice until he gets to jury. Then he's got to start winning some stuff, and, you know, he might have to step on a couple toes. But, don't go crazy with it. You don't need to win unanimously. Just because it's happened 2 years in a row doesn't mean you have to. You just need 5. And this part I liked. He said he would flip the vote if it helped him, as well as to make it exciting. Oh, that's what you want to hear from a Big Brother contestant. Too many people are afraid to flip the vote. Like, come on. Do it if you think it won't blow up on you and you think it'll make things interesting. Like, it's what you want to hear. I mean, the last person to. I mean, actually, now that I think about it, Derek F. kind of did it a little bit last season, although I don't know if he was just like pity votes. But yeah, he was. JC, also BB20, he would throw rogue votes to frame other people. Like, it's been a long time since someone worth rooting for has tried to throw rogue votes. And yeah, it does make the game more exciting, but it's like it always tends to go up, go up in flames to the person you don't want it to happen to. You know? So it's like not really here for that. Oh, I just realized I went out of alphabetical order. I skipped one. Sorry. Anyway, I think Pooch could be pretty interesting. He's got potential. Like a lot of people are looking at him and they're like, "Oh God, no, no." But I'm like, maybe. I think he's got some potential. He's willing to try and make this game more interesting in regards to the votes, and I'm here for that. I think he could be the player that Derek F. thought he was and still thinks he was because that man is delusional. Big D, big delusional. Or Derek F. for Derek Flop. I'll keep talking smack about him. I don't care. I blocked him. He ain't gonna see this. But yeah, um, I gotta go back one because I skipped right over her. Paloma. Uh, she says that she's taking her dad's advice to sit back and listen. I'm like, okay. I mean, you can't do that forever, but at first, might be a good way to not step on any toes. But you gotta listen. You gotta absorb that information that you're getting. She says she doesn't want to work with someone manipulative. Again, Big Brother. It's gonna be manipulative. She feels that she'll do well in comps. We'll see, I guess. I mean, I think she's the youngest. I believe she's only 22, so she has that going for her. And she says that she would just go with the House in regards to votes. I don't know. I mean, if she's winning comps, then that could be interesting. But other than that, I don't know. She's another one. I'm just kind of like, I feel like she just might be a someone who just kind of meanders her way through the game and is just unceremoniously evicted. I don't see Paloma changing the game. I mean, like, I'm not saying she seems like someone I won't like. She might be a nice person. I haven't seen anything to suggest she isn't. It's just, I don't know, just not all that intrigued by her. All right. Okay, this might be the most hyped up player so far. Taylor. Uh, Whereas Paloma took her dad's advice, Taylor's taking her mom's advice to let them think she's stupid. I kind of liked that. That that made me smile. She doesn't want to work with people who are bad at strategy, but she admits that she isn't the most strategic person herself. Okay. I mean, it's Big Brother. I do kind of hope you learn as you go. Like, that almost turned me off, but then I was like, she said she's willing to flip early on. Okay. I like the sound of that. She wants to ensure that the jury votes will be for her. So she might not flip later on. So it seems like her strategy is to really just kind of piggyback off other people's strategies, which is it is a strategy. If she's in the right alliance, I think this could work out in her favor. And if she can win some competitions and prove herself to that alliance, I think it could work out for her. I mean, if I'm being honest, like what I'm reading strategically, it's not the most interesting. But there's just something about Taylor. I'm getting a good vibe from her. And I think I read something about how she's a super fan and she's referencing, like, I think she's the one that even mentioned Danny, season 3, Danny Reyes, and how she lost because the jury wasn't sequestered. I believe that was Taylor that mentioned that, and I think that's part of why people are so excited for her. If I'm being honest, she reminds me a little of Hannah from last year. So, Hannah was one of the more popular ones, and I think there's something about Taylor. I think she's got something, and I think she's gonna be worth watching. All right, and the last one, the the oldest contestant of the season, is also the last one alphabetically. Terence. He says that going in, he just wants to be himself because he thinks he's got a good personality. He thinks he'll be perceived for his good energy. Okay. Doesn't want to work with someone fickle who won't stick to the plan. I mean, I see what he means. I'm just saying, like, you can't just because someone isn't winning competitions doesn't mean they aren't being strategic. So I hope that he can at least acknowledge people's behind the scenes game. Well, at least the people he's working with, obviously. If he's not working with them, yeah, get him out. But, like, I definitely want him to acknowledge his alliance's strengths, even when they're not winning comps. He admits he has an alpha vibe, so, you know, that's, that could go either way as far as if it's worth, if that'd be someone worth rooting for. It's the fact that he's a little older that might kind of calm it down a little. Like, if he's an alpha, but he's the oldest one in the house, he might not be perceived as too much of a threat. He says he would flip on his alliance later on to trim the fat, his own words, but early on he would stick with the house to play it safe. So, kind of a mixed bag with him. Like, I always gravitate towards the locals, but uh, that didn't go well for me. And I gravitate towards the nerds, by which I mean Michael. I think Kyle's just kind of a a dude bro who thinks he's a nerd, but is really more of a dude bro. And and then I also root for the old people. Well, the oldest people. I don't want to say the old people. 47 is not old. 47 is middle aged. And I don't know. I got a soft spot for them. I always like to see the older people do well. You know, like I know Cliff from BB21. He was not a very good player. He had some downright stupid moments that season, but I was still kind of rooting for him in some weird way. I wanted him to do well just because he was the oldest one, and for that reason, I'm rooting for Terence. I got a soft spot for him. So yeah, that's how I feel about everybody. I would say at the moment my top three going into it are Michael, Nicole, and Taylor because I feel like they are all hungry to play this game. Like I think they are all fans. I think they're willing to do what it takes to make things happen. And I don't know. They seem like they're hungry for it. And I want people who want to play the game, you know? So those are my top three so far Michael, Nicole, Taylor. The three I am least looking forward to are Alyssa, because I don't think she's going to be a very good player. And, that's a very, that's a pretty tame reason to not have a good vibe for somebody, just not thinking they're going to be very good. It's way better. It's a way better reason than the reasons I don't like Matt Turner, whatever, and Kyle. They give me not good vibes at all. I think they're going to be very problematic. I think I think they're going to align, possibly with Alyssa. Alyssa might even get into a showmance with one of them. And a big concern I've seen a lot of people have after the success of the cookout last year is that there's going to be a cookout 2.0. Maybe there will be, maybe there won't be. Personally, I don't think it's a good idea to do that because everyone's going to be suspecting it. But I feel like if there are any people in this house that would have the most interest in ensuring that there isn't a Cookout 2.0 and would vote for people that they think would be in an alliance that had the same mission and strategy as the Cookouts. If there's anyone in the house that would target them for that reason, I think it would be Kyle and Matt Turner, whatever. He's just going to be Matt Turner until I figure out what he wants to be called. So yeah, I feel like the sooner Matt Turner and Kyle get out of the house, I think it might be for the better. I don't feel like Alyssa is going to be like a damaging player. Honestly, if all three of them are pre-jury, sounds great to me. I've been at this for an hour now, and I still even haven't finished my watermelon juice. It's not watermelon. That would be too Mickey-ish. So, what I always used to do last season, after I finished what I had in my notes, what I would then do is uh, check my timeline and then check the hashtag to see if any more big news has come out. So I'm just going to check real quick, see if anything big has happened. Well, Marvin is no longer on the show. Joseph, 24-year-old lawyer from Lake Worth, Florida. A lot of people thought the delay was because they didn't want there to be someone like like what happened with Christy last year. She was announced, and then she tested positive for COVID, and they had to pull her at the last second. I thought that's why they were doing it. That's what I thought. And now, all of a sudden, here we are. It happened anyway. Marvin has been pulled, and now we have Joseph. Wow. All right. Well, what else? All right. Well, doesn't seem like anything else on my timeline. Let's hit up the hashtag. I can't believe you got to see my live reaction to a new house guest being added last second. Sorry, Marvin. I cannot believe I'm still in shock. Honestly, that's why I'm not talking much. I don't know what to say. All right, I haven't found anything else, but that was big enough. My God. Well, you know what? Maybe Marvin's time on America's Got Talent got in the way, or maybe they found out he was on America's Got Talent and told him for that. I have no idea. Well, this was certainly interesting. I have no thoughts on Joseph. I didn't find any sort of info on him. Just he's 24. He's from Florida. He's a lawyer. Okay. Well, that will do it for this stream. Uh, Big Brother season has started, and it's already a chaotic mess. So maybe this season will be quite juicy. I didn't mean to go for a pun there by drinking my juice after I said that, but yeah, I like it. I'm intrigued. Like I said, my top three at the moment: Michael, Nicole, Taylor. Bottom three: Alyssa, Kyle, Matt Turner. He better not be one of those guys that makes me call him like on a first name basis. I mean a full name basis. Like you can be Matt or you can be Turner, but don't make me call you Matt Turner. Okay? Just don't do it. Because I'll hate you for that on top of everything else. All right, but that'll do it for this stream. It says I still have two viewers. Maddie, 1974, if you're still here, thank you for listening. And yeah, that'll do it. I'll see you next time. I don't know when that'll be, but I don't know. I'll aim for Thursday or Friday for sure. But yes, that will do it for this stream. I will see you next time. Peace out.